Okay. Honorable Sangoni, 15:34. Your time expires at 16:04.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. No, thanks, Mr. Mkhwanazi. I think maybe let me just put a disclaimer that really before us, we were never presented by any of the witnesses who came before us with anything very substantive that it would have attracted our attention to you, except what happened at the Matlala Commission of Inquiry, which obviously we could not avoid following because it's happening in our country. And given the fact that the primary witness is the one that had said something in the Commission of Inquiry which drew our attentions to you. I'm making this disclaimer because some of the questions I'm going to ask about do not necessarily have a lot in what you have said, but very connected to it. The first one is that you developed a sense of comfort around Mr. Matlala to the extent that you call each other brothers. And this was a man, or this is a man who appeared to have had an intention to do something with the seat of Ekurhuleni, in which you are one of the senior officials. Did you take trouble to check, to do some kind of a due diligence as to who exactly is this man whom I'm about to become a friend to or a brother to the extent that he can also intervene to help me in my own personal circumstances, as you outlined it earlier today? So did you do any due diligence just to check around who is this person I'm about to be close to? That's my question.
Thank you, Chair. Let me be honest. It was only the question of going to his office, going to the medical care clinic, any other thing, because I didn't know him. I think by that time, no one knew, up until this thing of the provincial hospital and that noise. But before that, Chair, there was nothing. You see, I only went to the hospital and I only went to his offices, and my guys that confirmed these guys are coming from police and everything, especially from task force. Then I took him that company as one of the company. And the way he presented when he said he want to change the fleet to the fleet because he want to work with international guests, former prime ministers and what you see. But not to that level as you're asking. I didn't do that. I must be honest to you.
Do you have any training on security areas? Are you trained as a security officer of one form or another?
Yes, I'm trained.
Does it not supposed to come naturally that by virtue of your training, it's inevitable that if you are beginning to be comfortable towards somebody, your level of consciousness must therefore impose a duty on you to do a bit of a checkup on who is this person am I gradually become close to? And I'm asking that question because I would assume that we all care about our own reputations. I often argue that the only thing that we bring on the table as human beings is our own reputation and integrity. So when we are about to associate with anyone, to the extent that there may be money exchanges, I think we're bound to make some. But if you are trained as a security officer, should it not come natural?
It must, Chair. It must, Chair. Because when one of my juniors was checking, said, no, it's only the issue of, I think he stole something in the shop, something like shoplifting, something. It was only that. And long time ago, and it was clear it's no longer in the system. It was that only. You see. I think it was, one must say, it was an oversight. After looking everything, I think this is a normal man, clinic. It was an oversight on my side.
Okay.
I must take that responsibility.
Okay. No, I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad you are conceding to that, because I was going to be very worried that somebody that has got some form of a security training, even with the benefit of an hindsight, you would not see that it was a responsibility you had to do that kind of a checkout. The second question, if not the third question I had, if you remember on the page 56, the letter that the advocate was taking you through, which was written by, or is co-signed by Advocate Zulu, as well as the other person, I think Kwatini, if I'm not mistaken. That letter, you were saying when you were talking to the advocate that fortunately the letter exonerates you in a sense. I mean, I'm just paraphrasing what you're saying, but it sets you free from allegations that were leveled against you. And I think I almost heard you saying, luckily I had nothing to do to influence the writing of that letter. I only got to know about it later, if I heard you very well. But in the letter, the authors are saying, when they've done an internal verification with some of the internal staff members, internal staff, that's what they're saying in paragraph 2. It says, I've since considered this matter. The IPD investigation officer states that since the suspect did not have powers to conclude any agreement on behalf of the city of Ekurhuleni, his actions amounted to fraud and corruption. Then the second paragraph says, I have consulted with internal staff, and I'm advised that based on the current evidence, it will be difficult to prove fraud and corruption. But who are the internal staff that may have been consulted with, by the two authors of the letter, or those who signed the letter? And why, when they were doing a consultation internally on a matter in which you are implicated and you are one of their juniors, you were excluded in the internal consultation? I mean, how should we understand that to have been the situation, given the fact that your own evidence before us is that you were not aware of this letter, you just saw it 2 years later or whatever, when it was already out? Yeah, you can continue.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. It's difficult for me to answer that, because I'm not the author, and by the time I got this letter, I was already on a special leave. And after that, I was on leave. And our leave says that you can't communicate with anyone. Let's receive the letter, the suspension letter. You see, they don't want you to interfere, you see, because I still want to engage, you see, because the internal processes that have started, I know, you see, I was called for the first disciplinary hearing, you see, and it's part of that.
Okay.
You see, I'm still going to engage on that, Chair, because I'm worried, it worries me again, that it involves me. I'm the employee of the city. I'm still there, part of the payroll and everything. Anything happens, I must be called at any time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
No, thanks. And then in your evidence earlier on, you were saying that it's not written down, it's what you were saying as you were responding to questions. One of the things that you said was that each and every time when the the South African Police Service is meant to assist the metro, you have to do a payment of those services. And then you said, but EMPD gives us some assistance at some point with no charge. What kind of assistance is those ones that are given by EMPD to the police, but you don't charge them? That's question number 1. Question number 2, do you have any suggestion on how this relationship can be regulated? Now, I mean, in a context of legislation, to ensure that it's mutually beneficial. Nobody feels exploited by the other. That's between the EMPD and the South African Police Service.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the city has donated the land at Kwatema for a police station. The police station that is at Kwatema is situated at City of Ikuren land. You see, we are part of that as the department to influence and make sure, especially when I was acting HOD, to make sure that there's a crisis in Guatemala, there's no police that is effective and efficient. It's because of infrastructure. And they're saying they can't develop infrastructure because the land belongs to the city. Then the city took that decision out of our influence, out of our engagement, that we need that police station, we need SAPS to be there. It could have cost SAPS a lot of money, or the relevant department, for them to buy that land, you see. But that's not, I think even at Itwatwa, it's the same challenges that we have, you see. But when you go to subs for training, just training, in fact, we're appointed under SAPS Act, they should be providing that. We're we are part of the security agencies that work with SAPS. You see, in terms of training, because as I've said earlier on, that my worry is that when people are not trained together, when they have to, or when they must respond to crime situations or to crime scenes, you see, if we don't understand, you don't know the training and you don't know the capacity of the people, it may end up police versus police, or police are shooting at each other. But if you know that the other multi-agencies are trained too, you see, and it's worse with us, we're police. We're implementing the act on a daily basis. But in terms of training, they don't want. You see, we met the National Commission and they said the processes, they are charging us. And as we are saying, Chair, our municipalities are facing challenges. We see these things on a daily basis. I was 18. We will see, for example, I'm making an example. I don't want people to, but I'm making an example. That development of infrastructure of housing, especially in the southern part of Ekurhuleni. And those people that are there are people that depends, it's RDP houses, they depend on state in terms of grants, in terms of anything. And the services must be provided, plus minus 16,000 units. It's how many families. And we definitely saw that the city must provide services there. Policing must be there. You don't expect anything because they depend on, and they, in fact, they are there. They are South Africans. The Constitution says we must provide services. And when you check in terms of the geographical area, the informal settlements now in the city of Ekurhuleni, I've said it because of illegal mining, people want to open other things. You see, the power, the capacity, and the financial status of the city becomes a challenge. And we depend, us as police, we don't get grants from nationally. We don't get grants. Policing doesn't get grants from nationally. Policing doesn't get EMP, or let me say Metro Police, they don't get grants from national treasurer. They don't get grants from the province. They depend on these revenue, people that are paying services, especially grannies that are doing that with their 300, 400, we are surviving because of them, you see. And we expected, we request the parliament to intervene in terms of training. Okay. So you can't charge policing, you see. And one of the things I've just said, in Madlanga, the issue of fingerprints came in a lot, you see, to take police officers to SAPs and say, can you do fingerprints so that we check our officers? They charge you for a person for that. And it's a service that the police should provide to other
and help one another.
Yes, because end of the day, we are taking instructions from the National Commissioner.
Okay.
You can't say our National Commissioner charge us, but other kids, you don't charge them. But others we charge. Thank you.
Okay, my last two questions. The one is about I just need clarity on this matter, because as I was following your interaction with Advocate Mkhize, I felt there was some point where I was left behind. Your contention is that the vehicles never arrived under the auspices, or they were never handed over to the EMPD. Now, I want to underline that in terms of your own knowledge, they were never handed over. But do you know if they were handed over to the city? Because in our interaction with Mr. Matlala, he confirmed that the vehicles went and came back after some time, 3 months or 6 months, I can't quite remember well. Now, I understand how you are explaining the process internally in Ekurhuleni, that the division or the unit that is responsible for transport is the one that would be the recipient of a donation or new vehicles, and then dispatch them to various units for their own usage. My question is, assuming that your version is accurate, that they were never with EMPD, but do you know if they were ever delivered into the municipality after the completion of the registration process, or even before it was completed, the registration process?
Chair, thank you, Chair. I engaged Christine, the proxy, said he never received them. You see.
So we can safely conclude that if in our records, Mr. Matlala had said that the cars were with Ekurhuleni and brought back to him after whatever time, that would not be accurate.
I will say so, Chair, or else we engage Chris so that he makes an affidavit to confirm
to that effect.
Because it's a telephone call. Remember, I'm not there physically.
Yeah, no, I get your point.
And I don't want to say when we are convincing, you see.
Okay.
But it's very important. But yeah, I'm saying we never received the CMPT.
All right. Do you know Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi?
Yes, Chair.
Are you related?
No.
You've never met anywhere
No, we met.
as Mkhwanazis
No, we
before
met.
this?
Oh, sorry.
Yes, you've met somewhere as Mkhwanazis or as gentlemen in the restaurant or in, how do you know him? That's what I wanted to check.
At work.
At work.
Meetings.
Okay.
Through the national conferences, policing. But before that, I met him again. It was 2020. But even if we meet, we talk.
Okay.
There's this Mkhwanazi thing, we talk. Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Chair. I'm done. Thank you.
If we thank you so much, Honorable Sangon, is now 10 minutes to 16 hours. Yeah, time ends at 4:20.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chair. Good afternoon again, Mr. Mkhwanazi. Can you explain to me, because maybe I'm missing it. So if the blue lights were never fitted, how do we sit here and discuss blue lights and everybody knows Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi is speaking about blue lights? What are we missing?
Thank you, Chair. I will start with the letter or the WhatsApp that I got. It's not a letter, dated 27 April. No, it was a public holiday. 27 April is a Freedom Day. I got the WhatsApp message, say, Chief, where are you? I'm saying, no, it was Sunday after the 27th April. I'm at the funeral, Saturday. I'm at the funeral. Are you aware that the people that we suspended, it was April, they are somewhere in KZN discussing about you getting support? I think I've got that WhatsApp somewhere. I can leave that document, you see. Then I said, no, I will call you after the funeral. After the funeral, I called. They said, no, the Chief of Police and Deputy Chief Gwabe, they are mobilizing support against you in KZN. Both of them, they were suspended for sexual harassment. And they were not suspended by me. Or Gwabe, I can say, because I was acting Chief of Police. But the Chief of Police reports to the city manager, not to me. You see, it was before July, you see. And the issue of blue light, it comes from the office of the Chief of Police, Isaac Mapia. No, I can't rely in this commission. We don't see eye to eye. I always say, I've said it many times in this house, that I was not part of his succession plan. And one of the things that it's coming across me is that I'm one of those who are frustrated in terms of resources in the city, not by the city. Because now I happen to sit where there are discussions of budget, where you fight for money, different department. And they were saying to me, but we give you money for resources, you don't spend it. It always comes back, or money is allocated to other things that are not, they're not our priority.
Come back, Commissioner. So who made up this thing of blue lights? And to the best of your knowledge, how did it get to even General Mkhwanazi that he would make those allegations?
The source said to me, both of them in April, they went to KZN. I think it's them, the deputy chief and the chief, that are suspended, that they felt that I'm getting power. They went to KZN. The blue light story started 2021 within EMPD. As I've said, I was called blue light blesser. And I've said, can you show me those blue lights? I never saw those blue lights. You see, it was character assassination to deal with me, and they succeeded. It went everywhere. You see, that's why I've been said, that's what I've been said. If they stop those work, can they show me a case number or a photo or anything, an OP entry? There's a procedure when you stop those cars, you see, or else the pound form and the OP entry where you pounded the vehicle if you don't want to arrest, because you can use your own discretion, but nothing till today. It was a character assassination from internally. And remember, those people that I thought that my colleague, you see, they supported 200%. I will tell you why. You see, because the junior, who is now media officer, he was appointed to act in a senior position, which is 4 levels higher than her. We were made as directors to report to a superintendent. I refused. And I challenged it through the union. I won it. Then she was not awarded. I think it's bitterness and anger. You see, from that team, that this one is not one of our own. It's not part. I don't know how, because I belong to the state.
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you. Thank you, Mr. Mkhwanazi. Maybe just to say that if indeed you did fit blue lights, at some point we are going to see those blue lights. So the second thing I wanted to ask you, you got an offer for the position Deputy Municipal Commissioner Operations, which was on the 1st of December 2023. And on that offer letter, you're given a total remuneration package of 1.6 million. You then, in your acceptance, I'm sure you're familiar with these documents, I don't need to refer. You ask for you ask that your salary package be increased to 1.8 million instead of the total of 1.6. Was that increase effected?
Thank you. In fact, there are 2 offers. Even on that one, I was not happy. The one that I wanted initially, it's 2.1 or 2.2, because I looked at the packages that I had as a director. You see, currently, when you compare me with my directors, they earn far more than I. Those that I'm leading. Because when you are from inside, taking over.
Sorry, Mr. Mkhwanazi.
It was offered.
Was it effected?
Yes.
What
But
process was followed to effect that?
You apply through your HODHR, through finance. They do their own processes, do calculations and everything.
So if we were to ask for those documents, we would see them. It was not just you writing by hand asking for 1.8 and the city manager agrees to it.
No.
Those documents are there.
But
Okay.
it's them. It's not. I don't become part of that. Mine becomes this, because you don't take an offer if they didn't fulfill this.
Okay. Now, when you were speaking to Mr. Van Wyk and agreeing to everything that you were agreeing to, what process were you following there? So when you said yes, he could test, the bloods and the drunken driving issues, what process, and please refer me to the Municipal Finance Management Act, what process were you following there?
Let me correct it. It was not done. You see, he made a proposal, but it was not approved. Then there's nothing that happened.
But then when you were setting up meetings and they were going to present, what process were you following there?
Let him go and present. Maybe the top management will agree and will implement it, because his plan was involving other departments, not only EMPD. You see, and Municipal Financial Act or Financial Act, yes. You see, it must cover all the people, all the HOTs, all relevant departments, all the stakeholders should be approved, and the process must be implemented. It must via again through the city manager, because it's having a final weight. But it didn't even take place.
You like referring to process, ne? Service provider comes off the street and say, I can do these wonderful things for you. Then you bring together the top brass of the municipality to listen to this. What process are you using for that? Because this is arguably somebody who may either at some point have to be paid, not paid. So how did you do that?
Thank you, madam. No, because he said there are no financial implications. You see, that's when I took it. Said no, there are no financial implications, and he's the one who's committing himself. You see, let him go and do that. You see, there's no processes that are followed. I said, go and present. Maybe something will come out of that. You see, but the state won't be affected. You see,
Mr. Mkhwanazi, you've been a senior manager for a while now, haven't you?
yes.
So do you think it's possible that somebody says, I'm going to do all of these things, test people for free, and there's no cost to the state? Why would he do that, in your opinion?
I think it was a publicity part of it, marketing part of it. Because even now, people are working with the state and everything. They will request for successes and everything. Then when they go and apply for other business people, they will tell, no, on such a date, work with this institution, work with EMPT. These are the successes. So I think it was an advertisement and the publicity part of it, especially when we covered the whole Ekuru Lane in scenes and everything. It's that thing came into my mind. I don't want to lie to you. And I even asked, said, no, it's a question of advertisement, publicity part of it, because that's how these companies are doing.
Mr. Matlala did say to us that he wanted to promote his company, which I'm sure you will immediately read that as benefit to the service provider, which brings into question, obviously, the whole ethics around this thing. But when I said refer me to the Municipal Finance Management Act, I know that also when you receive a benefit as the municipality, there's a process, whether it's sponsorship, whether it's donation, and even that you don't seem to be speaking to. All I've heard you saying is that, no, those other people did it as well. Surely that can't be correct, Mr. Mkhwanazi?
I agree with Chair. That's why there was a proposal from the side of Mike to do a memorandum of understanding so that there must be legal. Because once you draft a memorandum of understanding, legal and corporate finance, because people, they may say there won't be any financial implications. But once the process starts, you see, people may change. You see, that's why you are correct in talk about MFB legislation and processes. That's why it had to via all these things, because anything before it's approved, it must via legal and corporate finance and all these experts must check. I agree with you.
Okay, let's move from there, because I'm quite sure you are familiar with Section 217 of the Constitution that calls for transparency in procurement. Now, whether you were paying these people, not paying, if you were affording an opportunity for somebody to promote themselves using the municipality, you should have gone out at least on a process that is open for everybody. You indicate, I'm not sure now because the documents have changed. You say that Mr. Matlala now comes in because you went to the mayor's office. You were told that the ANC is very, very unhappy. They're going to disrupt and so forth. Then you say, interestingly, I wanted to quote you verbatim if I could find it. So after engaging your members, that's when they raised tactical shooting. So you sit there and you hear all of these things and your response is, let's bring in tactical shooters. Is that a standard operating procedure at Ekuru Lane?
Oh, thank you. There's an operational plan, it's just that we didn't go through it, where we sit and deploy and task people. Where we task them, we didn't task to deal with crowds and do everything. Crowd, it was tasked to us as crowd management.
So who was the tactical shooting targeted at?
No, suspect or anyone will come and shoot and kill. But in terms of this, do you mind if we can go to operational plan? I think it's very important for us to see it. You see it go.
I don't have a lot of time though.
Oh,
you can give me a sense in
yes. But no, we had plus minus 8 or 9 tasks. All the units were tasked according to what they are trained for. Then they were tasked to give backup to the executive mayor, again, to stand on top of the buildings where he's addressing. But in terms of the crowd and everything, it was our own and public order policing from SAPS to deal with the crowds. In terms of your security.
Is that standard procedure around legislatures, Mr. Mkhwanazi?
No, when you do operational plans in terms of operation, that's how we do it.
Okay.
You see, the copy is submitted, you can via through, you'll see.
Okay, that's fine. Now, after you get these tactical shooting guys, and in your affidavit, you keep repeating in brackets, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's former task force. Are we supposed to read anything into that you were saying these guys that you brought in from Mr. Matlala's VIP were Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's?
I didn't say they are from, I said they are from task force. You see, I've mentioned it, and tactical shooting, I've mentioned it in terms of responding to crimes and other things. You can't do tactical shooting to crowds and other things. You will be arrested. The law doesn't allow that. But to serious crimes and training and everything, that's where I touch about tactical shooting.
No, it's fine. Let's not belabor the point, because you said after engaging my members, that's when they raised these tactical shooters. Like I'm quoting you verbatim. Okay, fine. Now you're saying in this council, in this meeting that you had with the mayor's staff, they alerted you of this threat. Does the mayor's office have threat assessment capabilities?
There's a letter I think I've attached that it talks about those things. You see, it comes direct from the exec alderman. It's part of these bundles.
Thank you. So this letter is the basis for your threat assessment for you to bring in, Mr. Matlala. Okay, so let's go then to that page. You're saying the meeting was held on the 29th of April, am I right?
Which one?
So the meeting with the council is, okay, on your initial statement, you've since taken out the date. I don't know, Advocate Mkhize, I'm confused, right? The statement that was printed for us, that's sitting here, it's on paragraph 31. If I can just read it quickly. Okay. Paragraph 55 on yours. And did you now you're explaining to us why you got Mr. Matlala's company? So from the document, it is reflected that EMPD engaged Cat VIP with company Reg What as additional support to ensure the safety of the state of the city address, which took place on 30th April 2022 in the city of Ekurhuleni. That's your statement, right?
Yes.
You then say the basis for you bringing in Mr. Matlala was the statement issued by the mayor. Do you have that statement issued by the mayor?
I've submitted. There's the other one again after the meeting. I've submitted.
I've got that statement. On my bundle, it's on page 81. I'm not sure where it is on yours. It's 81 on the soft copy. The letter from Alderman Tanya, it's a media statement. Do you have it?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for it.
DM 14. Page 81.
It's supposed to be this one.
Okay, JDM 14, page 81. So this is you now explaining to us why you had to take this extraordinary step to bring in Mr. Matlala with no process, take him to the mayor, as the chief whip has already determined you didn't even vet them. The statement of the mayor is dated 31st March 2022. Can you see that?
I know about it, yes.
Okay.
And the date.
Can you confirm it's the 31st of March?
Yes, yes.
So she goes on, the ANC has done this and this and this, and whatever, all about the ANC. Can you read for me the last paragraph that starts with the ANC is clearly frustrated?
The ANC is clearly frustrated and devoid of ideas on how to gain traction and electorate that is increasingly rejecting them. And the city where the multi-party coalition just developed a highly successful state of the city yesterday, during which has not single protest took place. Yes.
When I read this, Your reason for bringing in Mr. Matlala was to protect the state of the city address. And your explanation for why you had to bring in Ms. Matlala is because Alderman Tanya Campbell said the ANC is going to attack the state of the nation, state of the city address. You give us this document where she says the ANC is frustrated, and yesterday we delivered a very successful state of the city address. So why would you even lie to us on why you brought in Mr. Matlala? Because it was clearly not on the basis of the statement.
May I answer?
Please.
Thank you. I've said we met before the meeting. We were briefed by the team. We met before the meeting. My team briefed me, and we met with the the chief deputy chief operations and the team. That's where we were briefed. See, but as I've said that we met before and after. This one is after, but the one of us planning and putting for VIP protection for him doing what is this thing? As I've said that we are sitting in terms of the escort and deployment in the outer perimeters. It was that of one. You see, but for this one, we met after, as I've said.
That's why I asked you where you got the threat, Mr. Mkhwanazi. And then I had also asked you if you were meeting a month after the state of the city. What is it that compelled you before the state of the city to go and get Mr. Matlala? And you said to me there was a threat, and this is evidence of the threat. So I have a problem with your version of events, but maybe let's move because I'm just running out of time now.
Yeah, may I correct something?
Yes.
It was the day after. That's why there was a statement. That's why I've even said we met day after. That's where the mayor was happy and said we did the work. 2031.
I don't know if that makes sense to you, Mr. Mkhwanazi, but I do want to move on now. You said, Mr. Matlala said, are you going to pay us? When you were asking him for all the things that you were asking him. In which world, and please, I agree with you, the public service is tough, you have to be creative, you have to find ways, but when you approach a service provider, you have no intention of paying him. Why does he do all of this for you? Is it truly for marketing? And then what are you getting out of it? I know that in the course of your evidence, you were still telling us something about losing your siblings. I don't know if that was the point that you were going to drive, but this relationship is just not understood by us. Why would you go to a service provider? This man makes money from these things. What is he getting out of it? Because according to you, you're saying it's marketing. And what are you getting out of it?
Thank you, Chair. You remember I've said even after the engagement, he was still asking that is our VIP or are we not outsourcing VIP? You see, because we've got security that are stating that out. So I told him, no, our VIP is insourced. You see, I think in a wrong line, we're expecting that VIP will be outsourced. But with us, we're using our own Metro Police officers. Yeah.
Let me stop there. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhwanazi. Thank you very Chairperson. We rest.
Thank you so much. Honorable Nomvalo.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair.